a new guitar to work on today. So this one actually isn't my guitar. This is a friend of mine's, and he's looking to sell it. So he's asked me whether I would sell it for him. So that's what I'm going to do. But first of all, in order to sell it, I need to take some pictures. And taking some pictures of this guitar, it is a little bit dusty, it's a little bit kind of grimy and dirty, not because my friend is a dirty and grimy person, but because when you're playing guitars, the oils and that from your fingers and your hands, when you sweat, when you are kind of playing over the top of the guitar, things like that, they just merge with the dust and the oils, and so they leave deposits and stuff like that. So it is very, very, very common and very natural. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this guitar a clean up, and then we're going to take some photos of it and then hopefully get it sold. But it is rather a special guitar, I have to say, because it is a Martin. So first of all, that's a very nice thing to be working on, a Martin. And it is a rare Martin, pretty rare Martin. It is an all mahogany, which is an unusual kind of thing. Martin generally would be known for Sitka spruce tops, and they would be known for mahogany back and sides, rosewood back and sides with Sitka spruce kind of tops on them. So the all mahogany are not quite as common. And this one is a J15, which is even less common. So let's look at what a J15 is. So a J15, when you look at it straight away, you'll be able to see that it's not a dreadnought. It is a 00, I think it is. So this is a 00 body. You can correct me if I'm wrong, I'll correct that on the video. But I'm pretty sure it's a 00, and it's based on a 0015, I think. So why is it rare? Well, they've not made a huge amount of these. As I say, typically they tend to be mahogany back and sides and a Sitka spruce top or something, or a rosewood back and sides and a spruce top. So the J15, my understanding is they started off as kind of special edition ones harkening back to an all mahogany guitar they made decades before. So then what you find is that they come with, because they were generally limited editions, they generally came with different specs. So the reason this one is a little bit more rare is it is an all mahogany body. It has a tortoiseshell pickguard. It has rosewood fretboard and rosewood saddle, bridge rather. And it has electric fishman pickup system in it, which again generally didn't happen. So these were a limited run of guitar, and it's built from 2000 to 2001 model based on the serial number. It has standard typical X bracing. I don't think it's scalloped, I think it's straight bracing. I'll get the endoscope in there and I'll have a look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's straight bracing. So the rare thing is they didn't come with electrics in them. So this is actually factory fitted electrics using the Fishman, and the rosewood and the tortoiseshell pickguard. The rest of it is, I think it's a tusk saddle, so which is like simulated kind of bone. Bone bridge pins, I would imagine, or tusk bridge pins, but I'll check those. So it's a gorgeous little guitar, and the tone on it is incredible. So loads of bass. Very warm, very earthy mids and basses. is, for whoever gets this, this is going to be a beautiful addition to their collection, or as a first. So it's a lovely, beautiful mahogany guitar, beautiful mahogany sound to it, those rich, warm, deep end mids as well. So what we're going to do is, first things first, see the back of those tuners are a little bit kind of gunky and gungy, so I'm going to clean those up. The fretboard, as you will see, has that very, very common, very typical deposit that sits behind the frets. So I'm going to clean that off as well, and give the fretboard an oil, just to, again, rejuvenate and give a bit of extra life to it. Other than that, I think it is just to clean off the dust as well. There is a little challenge with the electrics where there seems to be, on occasion, it'll start buzzing. Electronic sounding buzzing, where it sounds like there's an earth short maybe, or it's just a dodgy connection. So I'm going to take a look at that. Whether I can fix it or not, I don't know, but we'll take a look at it. The rest of it otherwise has the usual kind of little dings and bumps where it's kind of been played and kind of knocked about. Nothing untoward. There is a couple of little things. One you'll see, if I can just get it in the light, you'll see there in the light, just by my beard, there is a little dink there. Now I need to check whether that is a through the body. Someone's cooking dinner. So whether that is a through the body sort of dent and crack, just to make sure if it is or it isn't. If it is, then my challenge will be to talk to the friend of mine and see whether he wants me to do something about it, or whether he just wants to sell it as it is. And then the only other thing is a slight, let me just see if I can get that into shot. You can just about make it out. There's a tiny little, just a scuff or a knot there. But again, that's, in terms of where it is, it's insignificant, and it doesn't have any impact on the security and solidity of the neck. So that's absolutely fine. Right, so that is the guitar itself. Now let's get on with cleaning it up. So I'm not going to replace the strings at the moment. What I'm going to do is do my usual. We'll down tune it, put a capo on, take the strings out of the saddle end, the bridge end, and then I'll just do the clean up on it, and I'll put the strings back where they were, and then when I sell it, I'll then put a new set of strings on it, just so that in the meantime it stays with the strings on under tension, things like that. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so just removing the bridge pins. I've loosened the tension off more than enough actually, so I don't need to worry about putting the cool, they're in a bit tight. Jeez, someone wanted to make sure there was no hope of those coming out. So I don't need to, I've loosened the tension completely, so I don't need to worry about putting the cap on the end. Cool, they're in. They are absolutely, it's like someone's hammered them in. Cool. Don't need to be in quite that far. This is a crazy thing with people. So what they'll do is they'll go and press these things in as hard as they can, almost thinking that the string is going to pull them out. And what you realise with a pin is that it's angled, and the whole point of that is that the string will press against the angle and almost press the pin against the hole to keep it in place. So you don't need to push it in as hard as you can. Just a little way, just a light pressure is enough. That's why I get guitars where there are cracks and dents in the body, because people whack the bloody pins in so hard you end up cracking the body when you try and put pressure on to get them off. Don't do it. Just lightly press them, don't force them in. Right, okay, so that's the strings out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get the dust off of it, give it a clean up, and then I'll move on to doing the fretboard. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a very, very fine polishing compound, which I think is for car bodies actually, but actually works brilliantly. Oh, I just broken a finger now. That's not very good from a guitar playing, is it? There we go. Look at that. My darling wife has just said I can borrow one of hers. Come here then, I've got some pliers. We can get it off. Right. Okay, so all I'm going to do is very tiny little amount, not much at all, just a blob. And I'm going to just go around, I'm just going to clean around the body, and all this will do is this will just take off any tiny little kind of bits of dirt, bits of kind of residue, those sorts of things. And then when we polish it back up, it's not even in camera, is it? How stupid is that? Get it in there. There we go. And then when I buff it back up, it is a nice kind of clean finish to it again. Nice little bit of a shine. Now this is not got a gloss lacquer on it, so it shouldn't be properly shining. It should be like a slightly hazy matte finish. So we're not looking to actually polish the thing up. We're just looking to take any surface marks and scratches that might be there, that with this polishing we can just get it nice and clean. And I'm also just looking to take out some of the sweat marks from playing the guitar that were in there anyway. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'll fast forward it so we don't have to bore you with the whole thing, and we can get on to the next bit. I don't know whether you can see that very clearly. So I've just been polishing this side of the body, and you can just about see. So you see my reflection of my hand in the body. There is where there is the film of kind of whatever, years of kind of smoke, dust and grime. And there you can see as soon as my hand becomes reflective, that's where I've polished. So there is a line along here where this side still needs to be done. And I have to say, it's taking a fair amount of elbow grease and welly to bring it back up again. But I suppose that shows you what 20 something years of grime will do. So I'm going to keep persevering with this side, probably about another 10 minutes, and then kind of the body should be done, should be polished up. Right, okay, I'm happy with the body, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give the fretboard an oil. This is also, whilst it's an oil, it's a clean as well. So it's not just for oil, it does a clean as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger just to run the fretboard oil all the way up and down, just to make sure it gets into all the grooves, in all the gaps and the frets. And look at that, I mean, that's already beautiful. What I'm also going to do is do the bridge as well while I'm here. it won't hurt to give that a new lease of life as well. Look at that, beautiful. Opens up the grain of the wood, brings it all out nice. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, certainly on the ridge, I'm just going to give it a wipe over to make sure, clean the oil off any of the body bits that I've touched. And then I'm just going to give this a few minutes just to settle in. And then after a few minutes, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pinch the frets, and I'm just going to clean the grime that's sort of tucked into the frets there, and then that should be that nice and clean. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting for that, I'm just gonna, there's a couple of other little bits on the body that I can see where I need to just get some of the polish off, so I'm gonna work on that as well. I've broken another fingernail. You have to give me another one now. Alright. That's it. Look at all that. All that gunk from years of just being played and not being cleaned. Okay, we're now starting to come up cleaner. Okay, so I think, I mean, that looks pretty good actually, I have to say. Happy with that. Okay, so that is our fretboard done. I've already given the headstock a wipe and a clean over, but I've just got a little bit of the fretboard oil on it. I'll just wipe that off. Making sure that I take care when I am doing anything like polishing not to use a polish which is going to damage the headstock sign, because this is a sticker stuck on the top of the headstock. So there we go. So there we go, that's good. So I'm going to put the strings back in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to have a look at the tuners. I'm just going to give the tuners a clean up. So normally I would, if I was restoring a guitar, I'd take these off, I would take the strings off, I would take the tuners out, and then I would do it. But as this is just a clean to get it ready for sale, I'm just going to use my little sanding pads, and I'm just going to take off any surface grime on these, using tissue paper as well to just give them a bit of a clean so they look nice and tidy again. So let's get the strings back in. I'm also going to give these tuning pegs a clean up, because underneath here there is, I mean, years of dirt or whatever that is. So I'm going to give those a clean as well, just to make sure they will fit in with a nice tidy end product. Okay, so here it is. The Martin is back together. So the last thing I did was just clean these up with a bit of a polish and that, just to get them shiny and everything again. And then it is still not, I've loosened the tension off, so I'm going to keep it like that for the time being. No point sitting there stressing the neck and stuff unnecessarily. But there it is, nice clean polished fretboard, nice polished frets. Bridge pins are cleaned up as well, so they're all nice and clean and tidy again. So that's it. So that's the Martin ready. The only thing I'm not sure about yet is whether I am going to try and clean up this case, because it looks a bit old and tatty and where it's been knocked about and things like that. So I might have a go at that. I'm not entirely sure yet. But in terms of the guitar itself, the guitar is good and it's ready to go. So fingers crossed we get a buyer on it soon.